Are you ready?
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 Are you ready to forget your family and your job? World Cup, oh, oh. Football round the clock. Football round the clock. Football round the clock. World Cup, oh, oh. Football round the clock. Oh, oh, oh.
Pretty good. I mean, Group A was decided today with Uruguay and Russia going through, so I think most disappointment, but congratulations to Uruguay and Russia going to the knockout round.
Yeah, and Group A, yeah, I picked Uruguay and Russia to go through anyway, and like Raymond said, Egypt was a disappointment, so I didn't expect Saudi Arabia to do as good as they did, but so far so good.
And I have really just been loving the whole thing. This has been another set of great games. Things have shifted, kind of like we talked about they would. But all in all, incredible games, suspense. This World Cup has had everything, maybe a little too much of everything, but it's had everything. And then today, they had the 3-0 win, and they had also some kind of lucky goals, like Luis Suarez free kick. Lexalt, he had like a deflected hit. And then what was the third goal? It was
Cavani, keeper saved it, and Cavani was right there to put it back in.
Yeah. So if that means if Luis Suarez and Cavani are both firing on all cylinders, that could be dangerous for people.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got to play Portugal next.
Yeah.
That'll be fine.
Spain did not want to play Uruguay. That was they're like, let's not play Uruguay. Let's see what he say.
Did he say something?
Yeah.
Angry face.
And yeah, for some reason I get the updates like a lot later on the internet. On my phone it's fine, but no, yeah, that would have been like the David final, Uruguay Spain in the first round.
Oh yeah, I did not want that at all. I was disappointed in how Uruguay played. So they had like Torreira like deep, and they didn't take advantage of him all the time. Like when he had the ball, like he was like opening things up, but like they just, I don't know if it's just that they don't have the the tactical coordination or the personnel or whatever. Maybe the like just the when you're playing like tiki-taka, takes a lot more, not tiki-taka per se, but like a good passing game that takes a lot more control and like getting to know your players than just playing counterattack. Counterattack is easy. You say only 3 or 4 people can counterattack. Everyone else just presses until they counterattack, and then once you counterattack, the 3 or 4 nearest run, and everyone else kind of makes sure that they don't counter the counter. So Torreira, he did this control thing, but like he didn't have a lot of movement in front of him. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think that'll be what kind of determines how far they go.
Yeah, but it was beautiful to see him, and like he ripped one shot I think at the end, and they played with a lot of different guys, which I really appreciated because they were already through, right? Yeah. And so they're like, hey, let's just play with some young guys. Speaking of which, what do you think about Russia?
Yeah, I mean, kind of, I guess, disappointing. I mean, I know they're playing 2 weak teams, but the way they killed them as compared to with Uruguay, kind of.
They didn't have like any chances with Uruguay. It was almost zero.
They actually did. with the full 11.
I think Russia just, like Raymond said, it was they played 2 weak. They just didn't have the talent to keep up with them.
Yeah. You're back, Derek. Sorry, I was just saying you were gone. I was messaging that. And he's gone again. I think that there's something more to it. I think that in the other games, they could play a certain style and it worked out, but Uruguay was not going to let them play that style. Yeah. Uruguay said, you know, you're not going to play counterattack against us. And if you do, you're going to be countering into 3 or 4 really strong defenders. So good freaking luck with that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it was just like, you know, for what they had, like if Russia runs into Portugal, if Portugal tries to press too high, no, I guess it's Spain. So if Russia plays against Spain and Spain presses too high, I kind of like what Spain had trouble with Morocco.
Yeah, that's what I think too. Yeah.
Because Spain, like, well, they also just didn't focus. Like Sergio Ramos and like a couple other players, like they didn't have the focus they needed to really carry the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that 3-5-2 for Uruguay actually helped them, like, kind of control the midfield compared to the previous 2 games.
Oh, the previous games they didn't even use the midfield; they just skipped right over it.
No, yeah, and so, and I know they did that because Jimenez is hurt, so he didn't play.
Yeah, you have Sebastian Coates who played, and Sebastian Coates has, I don't even know who he plays for, maybe like some Portuguese team, but like he hasn't done very much since he left Liverpool.
Yeah. So I don't know, having, you know, numbers like that in the midfield, I think helps them out. I think maybe they should kind of stick with that instead of a 4-4-2.
Oh, I agree, but I think that it was kind of like, yeah. And by the way, so funny thing. So Sebastian Coates, so he's like a 6'5" center back. He's Scottish, basically. He's Uruguayan, but like he's all Scottish ancestry.
Oh, wow.
That's funny.
Like no one in his family speaks English. You know, they all speak Spanish, but hit the groups and really hit it. Yeah. So, well, we hit Group A pretty well.
Yeah.
We don't really care about Saudi Arabia and Egypt. Like, props to Egypt for having a really old goalie do something. But other than that, you know, whatever. So Group B, we had the games. We had Spain versus Morocco and Portugal versus Iran today. They were both ties.
About changing their formation, you know, 3-5-2. And I've noticed that not just in the World Cup, but in club football also. 3-5-2's come back in fashion. That was a system back in the 70s and early 80s, and then it went out of style. And boom, it's back now. 3 at the back, whether it's a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-3. Why do you think that is when you got all these prolific scorers now? You'd think people would be going like a 4 or 5 defensive back, but it's not happening. People are going actually less and trying to stop them in the midfield.
Well, I think it also has to do with, so 2 things. One, left and right backs are no longer just left and right backs. So by putting like midfielders / wingers or wing backs in there, they're all basically the same. Some of the most prolific scorers in the Premier League last year were the wing backs. Like, I'm not saying most prolific, but like the Spanish wing back for Chelsea,
Alonso.
Alonso, he scored a bunch. Yeah. Monreal got up a bunch for Arsenal. Those are the guys I'm paying attention to, but it's quite surprising. You know, you wouldn't expect that, but arriving late and offering the width. So what that does partially is it negates like a 4-3-3 because you have this one guy that basically, because what you want is you always want numbers, right? So with a 4-3-3, you would think that like the wide guys in the back with the wingers would make it so that you need 2 guys to defend it. But what actually happens is it's really quite crazy. So, Derek, we were talking a little bit about Group B, and we're ready for Group C. And he's gone again. So
maybe we can,
let's just talk about Group C if it's recording. So What was the most recent game in Group C?
Yeah, so they played their second round of games. First, we have Denmark that tied Australia 1-1, and France beat Peru 1-0. So we got, France 6 points up top, Denmark with 4, Australia with 1, and Peru with 0, and their tournament is done.
So what does Australia need to do to qualify?
So Denmark and Australia tied. So obviously France needs to beat Denmark. Australia, they're at -1, while Denmark's at 1 goal differential. So Australia needs to make up 2 goals. And if that happens, that'll put their goals for above Denmark. So they will move on. So they need Australia needs a Denmark loss, and they need to win by 2 or more against Peru. So yeah, should be interesting.
So the first question is, do you think there'll be a Denmark loss? Because because sometimes, Christian Eriksen, he just pulls things out.
Yeah. I mean, I do see France beating Denmark, but I don't know. Peru, they've been so close in all their games, kind of like a Morocco, I think, in Group A, where they've been right there and just have been rather unlucky. I think this is the game where Peru is able to actually get their first goal in there, and I don't think Australia will beat Peru by 2 goals. And so I see
you can't
because of
Australia's
that,
scoring 3 goals or something. Yeah.
And so because of that, I think it'll, like it is, France and Denmark will move on.
Charles?
Yeah, I think Peru is going to beat Australia. I think they're more talented. They got the speed. And like Raymond was saying, they just caught some unlucky breaks, and they should probably have at least 1 win right now. So I don't see Australia winning that one. So yeah, I say France and Denmark are going to move on. France will beat Denmark. They're just more talented, more speed, better club all around.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be tighter than you think, because I think Denmark will play smart, but we'll see. Also, once again, I've mentioned this in every podcast, but I want to give congratulations to all the teams that have made it, and I really want to congratulate all of Peru for how well they've done, and all the supporting fans for going out there and just supporting Peru so well. I don't know as much about Australia, but I'm also proud of them. They get there fairly often, though. So
yeah.
Group D. Now this is some craziness in Group D. We have Croatia and Argentina, and Nigeria and Iceland. So let's start with a bang and go Croatia, Argentina. What the heck happened, Ray?
Yeah, I think Argentina looked worse than they did against Iceland, and Croatia just really, that midfield was able to control the game with Rakitic and Modric, and both had goals in this game. And Messi was even more non-existent than he was against Iceland. Like, he looked like he had no interest once they went down 1-0, just kind of went out to the wing and just kind of, hung out there. Credit to Croatia, clogging the middle and having a plan for him, but just no creativity, no passion, no anything from Argentina. And so they still have a chance with a win against Nigeria and a Iceland loss to go through, but it's going to be, I don't know, they're not looking good. So
Charles, what happened to Messi? What happened to Argentina?
I'm going to have to agree with Raymond on this one. That midfield was great. Modric, it's like he took the Croatian team on his back. He was the captain in that game, and whatever he wanted to do, he was able to do it. And he controlled, like Raymond said, he got a goal in that game.
What a goal.
Argentina. Yeah. It was a great goal. And Argentina, I'm flabbergasted. I have no answers. They have all this talent, specifically on offense, and they're not scoring the goals. And like Raymond said, Messi was non-existent in this game also, just like against Iceland. Maybe that's the key to beating them. Maybe teams are concentrating on Messi. You shut him down. Maybe the other guys aren't as great as we think. Maybe they're just surrounded by good talent on their club teams. I don't know. But it's whatever it is, it's not working. But they still have a shot. If they win this game and Iceland loses to Croatia, which will probably happen, Argentina still has a shot to go through. and hopefully they can change it around in the knockout stage. But it doesn't look good for them right now.
So two things. First of all, did you see Messi dropping back super far a couple times to get the ball? That's not a good sign. Second of all, did you guys both see the moment when the whole Argentine team gave up on the third goal, and literally all of Argentina started crying simultaneously? They panned to Diego Maradona. I think he was crying. Like the trainer just like walked off the field. That's not a good sign. So the reason I bring it up right now is not to make fun of Argentina. It's because the players and the coach, and I think everyone had like a discussion, and they're like, hey, the coach, you're not deciding anything. We're going to decide everything from now on. And so that's actually what's going to happen for the next game. And for me, I don't know how that's going to help. Isn't that what was happening already? I don't know. Are they going to vote?
Nigeria looked good against Iceland. Yeah. So, I mean, I wouldn't say Argentina's a gimme against Nigeria. Nigeria could end up beating them, especially the way Argentina's playing right now. So we'll have to see. I think it's going to be a good game.
I don't understand. Like, I understand that Messi's a very strong, like he can be a very strong personality when he needs to be in the locker room. And there's a couple others that are with him that are very strong, but none of them have the capability to bring that whole thing together, in my mind, the whole team together and say we're going to play a certain way. I feel like this is an incredibly combustible situation, and I don't see how it's going to, is the forge going to make a diamond out of this mess, or is it going to explode? And I sense explosion. So
now, what do you think about? I'm going to throw this out here real quick. Do you think it was a mistake for Messi to come back? Because remember, he retired from national soccer. And then he decided when Argentina was struggling, they were out of qualifying. They weren't going to make it. Yeah. He decided to jump back in. They finished very strong, and they made the world. Do you think, in his mind, was that a good choice, or do you think he's regretting that now?
So in my opinion, is that either that was a power play, in which case he got what he wanted and it's still screwing up, or it was a horrible decision because clearly it's not working out for him. He got Argentina back. But this is not a team right now. This is a bunch of individuals that are all just incredibly frustrated with each other and with the coach and with the system. And sometimes you have to let things take their natural course to resolve. And just because he was able to get them through qualifying doesn't mean that any of those things are going to get fixed. So that's one of the reasons why I don't like situations like that. Sorry, Ray, go for it.
No, yeah, just last thing, and kind of what you hinted at is I think there's a huge lack of leadership. They don't have a guy in there, to bring the team together. Because Messi, even though the superstar he is, he's and a big personality, but he's pretty quiet. Like you never see him talk on the field or getting after the guys. I mean, maybe in the locker room's different, but I don't see him really as like
I think in the locker room
for that team.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure in the locker room, it's like him and Mascherano are kind of like a little tighter, and they kind of control a little more. I don't know who does the talking or what, so you're absolutely right. But with no leader, with the coach gone, with the combustible situation that it is, I see great worry. I agree with Charles. This Nigeria game could be a very difficult scenario for them. Or maybe they score like 5 goals, they get through, and they kind of like duct tape over the cracks. Who knows?
Yeah. And I mean, with Messi, leaving or whatever, if this is his last game as in Argentine
Wouldn't
uniform,
that be incredibly disappointing? Yeah.
Oh yeah, and like in the foreseeable future, like I don't think Argentina is going to be up there at all until there's a
Him leaving doesn't improve them. Him staying doesn't improve them at this point. But him leaving, their midfield's not good. Their defense isn't good.
Exactly.
And losing the best player in the world, how is that going to help? So I agree. Let's touch on real quick the Iceland Nigeria game. What happened at that game? How did Nigeria look?
Wow. Go for it.
I think Charles is excited about this one, so let's go with Charles real quick.
Yeah, you go.
Well, I'm on Vikings. I'm on the Iceland bandwagon, but losing to Nigeria, I think that kind of put a knife in Iceland. I don't think they're going to make it through. It'll either be Nigeria or Argentina, but it's either Argentina is as bad as we've been talking about because Iceland drew against them, because Nigeria didn't look very well against Croatia either. But Nigeria looked like they could do whatever they wanted against Iceland in that stout defense. They were running them up. I mean, Iceland in the second half looked tired. Nigeria was just running up and down the pitch. And was it 3? Or was it 2-1 or 3-1 was the final?
2-0.
2-1?
Yeah, but you're right. Like Iceland's midfield just looked non-existent,
Slow.
and their
Slow.
defense looked like they could just have holes picked in them. Ray,
Yeah.
What do you see from that game?
Yeah, I was just going to say something similar. I think, both of Nigeria's goals, came off of the counter, and with that speed compared to Iceland's.
Yeah.
And they were both set pieces on the other end for Iceland. So, they're putting numbers forward. And once that ball was cleared, and they both happened in the second half, Nigeria was gone. Two great individual efforts by Musa to bring the ball down, and then the individual
fantastic
run. Yeah. So I'm not going to write Iceland off yet. I mean, they did finish in front of a familiar opponent in Croatia in qualifying, and this is the last game of the group stage. I think it's, a tall task, but
they'll get up their energy for it.
Yeah, we'll see.
I am going to predict, based on what you guys have been saying about the Nigeria game, a red card in the Argentina-Nigeria game. I think Argentina is going to get a red card as Nigeria breaks on them.
And, Nigeria is not a possession style team. They use their speed, especially out on the flanks. And Iceland could not keep possession.
Yeah.
I mean, Nigeria was right on. They stole it. Boom, counterattack. And that was, like you said, in the holes in the defense, which is very not like Iceland. That's what they're known for. Solid D, and they had some, like you said, they had some holes in this game. So they need to clean it up against Croatia, or else they're done.
They're very strong mentally, though, so I think they'll be able to bring it together. It's just it's a tough task after going through that much work for so long. So they're probably, like you said, just incredibly tired.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. Group E, we had Brazil, Switzerland, and Serbia, Costa Rica. Any opinions? Let's. It was Brazil, Switzerland, right? Or am I? No, it was Brazil, Costa Rica.
Switzerland.
Switzerland, Serbia. Let's go Brazil, Costa Rica. I don't want to touch on that too long, but did you guys watch that? Did you guys see Brazil? For me, they didn't look too good, and I felt they got kind of lucky at the end.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, Costa Rica defended for their lives. Navas, what an incredible keeper. What an incredible game with the saves he made and stuff. But they weren't able to hold on the whole 90 minutes. And so, Brazil was fortunate to come out with 2 goals in stoppage time.
Yeah, which I think is another story.
Time against Costa Rica. I mean, this should have been a blowout, and it took stoppage time.
Yeah.
That's what's amazing to me.
Very disappointing by Brazil in general. But I think that's another story, is there's been a lot of stoppage time or late goals. Charles, any more opinions on that Brazil-Costa Rica game, or do you want to go straight to the Serbia-Switzerland?
No, just they didn't look good. They need to get their act together because they looks like they're going to go through. So
I do have a question. How is Neymar looking? Is he looking like he's healthy again? Because I was convinced at the start of the World Cup that he wasn't going to be 100% healthy, and I know he's taking a bunch of knocks, but how does he look?
Yeah, I mean, I think Costa Rica weren't as physical or dirty with them as Switzerland was, but it was kind of a similar game plan. I mean, didn't create too many chances. So, I don't think he's looking 100%.
Okay. Quick, Serbia and Switzerland. We talked about this a little early on. We said that Serbia did well, but then they got tired down the stretch, and Switzerland had what was it, a fast break by Shaqiri at the end? Looked pretty good. I always want to point out, I talked about it in the previews, Mitrovic, he was a handful when he got the service. And if he starts putting more goals away, he's going to be very difficult to deal with. Do you guys have any major comments on this game?
Yeah, I mean,
I
I'll
just
just
thought
say,
it was. Oh, go ahead.
sorry.
Go
Sorry, go for it.
No, go ahead.
No, so I was just gonna say, yeah, Serbia came out and looked like they overwhelmed Switzerland at the beginning. Right before Mitrovic's goal, he had another header that Sommer made an incredible save to get. I think Serbia was just the more talented, better team in the first half. And I think they probably went a little too much for it. You know, a win would have clinched them a spot. So they kind of went for it early. And I think that kind of bit them in the butt in the second half where Switzerland had, fresher legs and were able to Shaka with a great strike and Shaqiri with the counter and one-on-one with the keeper. So, yeah, pretty disappointing for Serbia in that.
And once again, kind of like you said, I think that this is one of the many games which has been a tale of two halves. There's been the first half, which you thought that one team was down and out, and then they come back in the second half reorganized, and they're able to either steal a win or do they just look a lot better. So, Charles, opinions?
Yeah, Raymond said it. That's what I was going to say. It's a tale of two halves. Serbia came out flying, and Switzerland had all kinds of trouble keeping possession, playing defense. They were putting it to them. And then the second half, totally different. And it looked like Serbia got tired. And that's what it looked like to me. And Switzerland took over and put more pressure on them. And that, I mean, shocking. What a blast for a goal. That was sweet. That was a fantastic goal. And then Shaqiri at the end to ice it. Another late goal again here in the World Cup to make it exciting. But your heart goes out to Serbia because they played really well, and it looked like they were the better team for most of the game, but they just ran out of steam.
Yeah. Yep. Some of those aging legs, I think, we're getting a little tired. Let's hit Group F. There's been some crazy games that have happened here, and we had another one. Let's start off with Germany and Sweden and just go right into it. Let's start with Charles this time, and then we'll finish up with Ray. Tell me your impressions about the Germany-Sweden game, and tell me why do you think Germany was lucky? Do you think that it was a just result? That's where I am right now. I'm still a little heartbroken about this game, but then again, I'm not as big of a Germany fan as you guys are.
Yeah, I mean, German's in my heart. That's my heritage. I'm rooting for Germany, but again, they did not look good. Sweden looked like the better team. And to be honest with you, I think Sweden probably should have won the game. There probably should have been more cards. Boateng probably should have been sent off earlier than he was, which it's kind of interesting because that kind of sparked Germany after he got sent off. Seemed like there was more urgency. And then that fantastic late goal from Cruz in the upper corner was great. But it was an exciting game to watch. You didn't know what was going to happen, but it did look like Sweden, for the most part, was the better team. And they were, again, just like Mexico, they were stopping Germany in the midfield. And that high press that Germany have, they were in trouble again. And so, but it was exciting. And here I'm glad Germany won, but should have they have won? Probably not. Raymond?
Okay, yeah, let's talk about the should they have won first, Ray. So, should there have been a red card earlier? Should Sweden have had a PK? Short opinion before you jump into your opinions of the game.
Well, yeah, I don't know if Boateng was already on a yellow before the should have been PK, his tackle against Berg. But either way, yeah, he would have been sent off. I'm not sure which time frame. So yeah, I agree. I don't know why it didn't go to VAR. Should have been a PK. So yeah, I think Germany was pretty fortunate. To say that Sweden was better, I don't know. In my mind, when I think of better, I think, did you control the game and did you create more chances like the other team to score? And so Germany, obviously, more possession, controlled it. dominated in chances. And so Sweden, played a little different. They sat back and defended and were able to take advantage of that high line. The center backs for Germany, Boateng and Rudiger was in this game because Hummels was hurt. They've played awful. So I think it's actually good going into the Korea game that Boateng's not going to be there. Maybe get someone fresh in.
I was thinking about that. Yeah. So 2 questions. Why didn't Germany learn this is to Ray still. Why didn't Germany learn their lesson from Mexico? And why are they still playing with the same irresponsible pushing forward? And second of all, how do you let's go with that first, because I think that's a really important thing. Like, I feel like they didn't learn their lesson from Mexico.
Yeah. See, I think yeah, they didn't learn their lesson. I don't think they played terribly. I think they really wanted to make a statement, and so that's why they played pretty similar, pressing high, just trying to demolish Sweden and just overwhelm them. Sweden stood firm and was able to, defend very well and didn't allow anything for the first half. And so, I think there was a sense of urgency and wanting to prove, we're the world champions. The last game was a fluke, but credit to Sweden, they were able to, defend very well. So
very tough defending.
And I don't know about the learn your lesson part. Remember, they're the world champions. They played the exact same style back then. They still play it now. They have all the talent in the world. I think it's, instead of learning your lesson, I think they're like, you know what, this is us. We're not going to change things because this is how Germany plays, and the players are used to playing like that. And I think it's just it's more of a mental thing than a adjustment, physical or strategy thing. If they can mentally get their game going again with this system, they'll be all right. But I think right now they're having mental issues, and that's part of Germany's issues in the past too.
So just to recap it, you're saying that it's not so much a tactical Achilles heel; it's more a mental and maybe confidence issue. That if they do better with passing and stuff, then they won't be exposed as they have been.
No, that's exactly what it is from Germany. Watching this team over the years. They'll make some little tactical changes, but they're not going to make a big shift because they had 1 or 2 bad games. This is their style. They press high. The defenders are in the midfield. They're part of the offense, and it bites them in the butt once in a while, but they also win with that, and they're used to it, and that's the style Germany plays. So I really don't see them changing much tactically or strategically coming up in these next other games. Maybe small little tweaks here and there, but I don't see a drastic change because this is what's got them there. That's what they're thinking. This is what's got them there. We just have to play. It's up here for Germany, and I've seen it in the past with Germany, is when they're right here, they'll destroy you. When they're a little shaky up here, things aren't going right, passes aren't going right, defense is a little off, Holzer, then it shakes their confidence, and it's something got to right the ship. And that's why I don't see Joachim Löw changing too much. Maybe, lineups, but not too much strategically.
Sure. So the funny thing is that if you're another country, let's say one of their semi-rivals, England, they see Germany as the opposite. They see Germany as having, tied when they know that Germany needs to win, and yet they see Germany as being super confident. And they thought that that Kroos goal at the end was just an example of, never doubt Germany. And that's one of the funny examples that I think, everyone sees the other team as having that confidence and that, especially with Germany, that's Mannschaft, they're like the unflappable warriors, while everyone else sees all the holes. Like my English friends see so many holes from their England team, but I think Germany is just impeccable. So I agree, Charles. I think that they could bring it together and it will be good for the next game. Thank you, Derek. Diamond. Can you pronounce that for me, Charles? Die Mannschaft, yeah.
The
Das
team.
Boot. Okay. So, first of all, predictions for the next game with Germany. How do you feel they're going to do? Is against Korea?
Yeah. Yeah, I think they'll beat Korea. I mean, again, though, Korea, they're a fast team. They like to counter, and so Germany can't underestimate them. Real quick, just going off what Charles said, I look at it more of an individual, like not so much tactical because they've been this way and it's got them good places, but individual, like Boateng going all the way up to the 18 in the right flank, and Cruz gave the ball away on Sweden's goal. So just individual like things like they're just kind of thing.
So which is one of,
I'm
like you said, one of the reasons why it's good that
know?
Boateng probably isn't going to be there. So yeah.
I wonder who they're going to start. I'd like to see Sula start in the middle with Hummels, but we'll see who actually is going to be there.
Yeah.
Okay. Charles, do you agree with Ray on that one?
Yeah. I think it is more of an individual thing. Like I said, it goes back to the mental part. Germany as a team, they're ferocious. As individuals, somebody's having a bad day could get in their psyche, and then they're going to make mistakes. As far as Germany, South Korea is dangerous. And like you said, they're fast. They can counter well, but I think maybe this Cruz thing and Boateng not being in there maybe gave them the confidence they need. I'm predicting 3-0 Germany. I think they're going to take it to them because they know this is do or die. This is their World Cup right here. If they flounder this and Sweden gets a tie or a good run or whatever against Mexico, Sweden's in, Germany's out. And so I think Germany's going to come with full force.
Speaking of which, before we go to Mexico, Sweden, there's some interesting math on this, right? So first of all, Mexico's at 6, Sweden and Germany are at 3. And so as we were talking about earlier, we're not going to go through all the permutations, but if Mexico lose, basically, then everyone's at 6 points except for South Korea. If Mexico loses and Germany wins, then it's a lot of math, right?
Yeah, goal differential, points for, points against.
Yeah.
Because they're all going to be, they can't do the head-to-head because they would have all beaten each other. So it's going to have to go the goal differential or points for, points against. So,
yeah.
Very
interesting stuff.
That's what it'll be.
Okay. Last game of Group F was Mexico and South Korea, and this was kind of an interesting game. But we don't have to go too into it. Let's just hit the basics. How did the game go, Ray?
Mexico controlled it. They had a PK and then a counter, very similar to how they scored against Germany. Korea, Son had a wonderful strike, but that was in stoppage time at the end, not enough to get them through. So, I mean, it's looking great for Mexico. They just need to take care of their business against Sweden, where these first great start will be for nothing if they lose.
Well, I was going to take exactly what you said and say I think that's what's going to make it difficult against Sweden. I know that Mexico doesn't need a win, but like you said, if they lose, then they're in trouble. So that means they're probably going to come out and try winning, and they've been playing much better on the counter than they have proactively. So we'll have to see how that is. Charles, what's your opinion on that? How do you think that they did against Korea, and how do you think they'll do against Sweden?
Oh, like Raymond said, they took care of business. Korea, it was a late goal. Korea had some chances, but not many. Mexico dominated that game. They looked good, just like they did against Germany. They looked really good. Mexico, Sweden's going to be tough. It's a different type of team. Sweden plays a little bit better defense. They might sit back like they did against Germany and take it, try to shut down that counterattack and the speed that Mexico has. This is going to be interesting because I picked Germany, Sweden to come out of this group. And like Raymond said, if Mexico is not careful, that's what could happen. If Sweden ends up beating Mexico and Germany wins, Mexico could be on the outside looking in. But right now, Mexico's in the driver's seat. I'm pretty confident they'll probably move on. All they need is a draw to move on. So they might they might not come out in full force like we might be thinking. I mean, they might come out, try to put the game away early, but then I think if they can get an early goal, they might just sit back the rest of the game and try to control possession and try to keep Sweden at bay because they know they only need to draw to move on. And so, yeah, they're in the driver's seat. It depends on how they come out and play.
And if Mexico and Sweden draw and Germany wins, then it's Mexico and Germany through. So, yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Group G, this is where the fireworks have been going off. We're going to skip Tunisia and Panama and just talk about England and Belgium. Like we'll talk about the games real quick. England versus was it Panama? Yeah. So Ray, you hit that one, and then we're going to have Charles talk about Belgium, Tunisia, so we don't go into too much depth.
Yeah, I mean, England just simply overwhelmed Panama, scoring 5 goals in the first half. Harry Kane with the hat trick. He's the leading goal scorer so far in the World Cup. Panama just looked like they didn't, just lack of talent, kind of gave up a little bit. Congrats to them getting their first World Cup goal ever, though.
Yeah.
England looked pretty impressive. So,
absolutely. Charles, Belgium, Tunisia.
Belgium was a dominant team. I mean, 2 goals in the first half, 3 goals in the second half, make it 5-2. I mean, Tunisia, they got a couple goals, but pretty much Lukaku, he scored 2 in there.
And one of them was
Hazard.
Lukaku's goal was a good goal too.
It was a great goal. Yeah. Hazard scored 1. I mean, it was a good team. Right now, with the exception of the England-Panama game where, 6-1, to me, looking at all these clubs, Belgium looks like the team to beat. They haven't missed a beat the entire, group
They've looked
stage
pretty standardly good. But then again, this is like most of the other teams have played against like their other seeded team, like the other difficult team. While this is when Belgium and England play each other. So let's jump into that. When is that game occurring?
That's on Thursday.
Thursday, I think.
It's the last day. Yep, Thursday.
And I just want to point out, it's interesting. I'm looking at the standings right now. So both England and Belgium, 6 points. Both have a +6 differential, and both have scored 8 goals and allowed 2. Right now, the standings have England at tops, so I don't know what the third tie break is or whatever. So if
it can't be alphabetical, so I don't know what it is.
No. So if it ends up being a draw, England will top the group. So
Derek thinks it's yellow cards and red cards. Yeah.
Oh, maybe that's what it is. Yeah. Some of you said there was a list of like 10 things that they go for draws or for who wins, who doesn't. So tiebreaker. So it'll go down to the 4th or 5th level there.
Well, if they tie, right? Like if they tie, if it's like a 2-2 tie or something, that would be kind of funny. So let's talk about predictions then. Like Charles said, Belgium has looked pretty steady throughout the thing. England had a tough time in their first game, but then they put it away, and then they looked pretty solid in this last game. So what do you guys predict?
I see Belgium winning this game. I think this is going to be a huge test for England's defense. I know Roberto Martinez, Belgium's manager, said he was going to, make some changes. I'm not sure what changes. We'll have to see. But I just think offensively, Belgium's defense is really going to test England, and they'll squeak out a victory to top the group because they also have to play for that. A draw won't do them good. So,
speaking of which, so if they win, like whoever tops the group in Group G plays the top of the second in Group H, right? And so right now,
correct.
It's a mess. But Japan, Senegal, or Colombia, so they're basically hoping to not play against Colombia or inform Senegal. So let's. What do you think, Charles?
I can't wait. This is the game I'm waiting for this week. This is the game. England, Belgium. I think it's going to be a squeaker too. I don't know if it's going to be like a low scoring squeaker, but I think maybe a 1-goal win for Belgium. whether it's 1-0 or 2-1 or 3-2, something like that. But it's going to be good, and I think Belgium's going to come out on top on this one.
I've been having trouble with this one because I keep predicting these like giant scoring games, and then it hasn't happened. Especially like England and Belgium have been scoring lights out, but kind of you said, Charles, like these teams come out that are high scoring when they play against each other. Sometimes they're very cagey. So I'm not sure. I do think that Roberto Martinez doesn't play defense, so I don't know how that's going to go. My other thing I was going to bring up is Raheem Sterling. Have you guys been watching him? He just doesn't look on top of form.
No.
His passing's been great, but his touch and his shot and your goal have not been. So
no, yeah.
Cool. I'll agree on that one. Thursday. Let's look forward to that. And finally, let's go to Group H and just finish it up. We had what was the game today? Poland and Colombia. Or there's Poland and Colombia, and then Senegal and Japan. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So let's talk about. I think I'm more interested in the Poland-Colombia game because it kind of signaled the shift in what was happening in that group. First of all, it signaled the demise of Poland because now they can't get out, and it also showed Colombia kind of coming back into form. So, Charles, what was your opinion on this game?
Yeah, Colombia looked really good. Jaime Rodriguez had 2 assists in this game. So he looked really good. He's back in form. Colombia looks back in form. Poland, just like through qualifying, it's a one-man show for scoring, Lewandowski. And just like the Champions League, another big tournament, no show. So kind of like what we talked about off the air before the program, I don't see how Lewandowski's stock is not dropping. People still want him because he's a no-show in any big game, any big tournament, and it proved itself again. An early exit for Poland in their first World Cup. And, so Colombia looks really good. Looks like they're back in form, so we'll see how they do in this last game, see if they make it out of the group or not.
Ray?
Yeah, just Colombia dominated this game. James with 2 beautiful assists. So I think, they were kind of unlucky. They had the red card early in the Japan game and kind of had to play man down for 90 minutes. Yet they still controlled that game, pretty well. Yeah. And so I think this is just, Colombia kind of hitting a reset button, playing Senegal in the last game. It'll be a big matchup, but I think Colombia can do it.
Yeah, that'll be a really tricky one because you don't want to press too much and lose everything. It's one of those games where you can lose it all early, but you can't win it all till the end. If you let in a goal early, then you're in trouble. But if you it's like 2 goals early, then you've lost. But if you can't win until the very end when it comes out that you're on top. So, of course, saying that the maximum amount of points in that group is 4. So Colombia and Senegal could easily. Actually, I don't know. Could they both go through? No, because that means they goal differential. It would be Colombia, Japan if Colombia wins, or if they tie. So either way, it's going to be some interesting stuff. And I agree with you, Ray, about Colombia. It seems like they've kind of decided to reset and focus a little better. What's the center back's name that scored the first header? He plays for Barcelona, I think. Yuri. Anyway, they looked good. Their attack looked good in general. Falcao getting a goal is a really good sign. So,
Mina?
Yeah, Yuri Mina. Thank you.
Yuri Mina. Yep.
And so, do you want any comments on the Japan Senegal game? What was the final score?
That 2-2. Was 2-2. Pretty exciting. I mean, both teams going in were at the top, and I think Senegal scored first, and then Japan scored, and Senegal and Japan. So, Japan, going into the Poland game, a beaten down Poland team, if they get all 3 points, they're guaranteed to go through. So, a lot to play.
I think that's the most interesting part about this. Well, the first thing that I think is really interesting is I feel like Japan did not look great in the first half. And I thought that because I think Senegal came out and really laid it to them, if I remember correctly. And
Yeah, they came out strong.
and then in the
Yeah.
second half, I was really surprised to see that Japan had kind of come back. So, any opinions on that, Charles? And then also opinions on the Japan-Poland game and maybe them taking the group?
It's the typical African team, they have that speed, they have that size. And like you said, they dominated the first 20, 30 minutes of the game. Japan didn't score until the 34th minute. Senegal scored in the 11th minute. So they came out strong, thought they could hold on. Japan came back. They got to earn another goal at the 71st minute, something like that in the second half. And I think they thought the game was won, and boom, here comes Japan again. Japan's one of these feisty teams. They have a lot of talent on their team. A lot of their players play in Europe, specifically in the Bundesliga, but in Europe. And they're very feisty. They won't go away. You can never give up on Japan. You got to play the full 90 minutes because they're going to play that style of game. And that's what happened to Senegal. They came back and got in the 78th minute, so, a few minutes later. But then neither team could win it. If I had to pick, I think Colombia's probably going through. Like you said, they're hitting their stride, and that's not good news for Senegal since they play each other. And we'll see with Japan and Poland what happens. Poland needs a win, even though they're out, but they need some confidence and to get that win to at least show something. Maybe Lewandowski will show up. Who knows? But I'd have to predict Colombia and Japan moving on.
Yeah. So speaking about that, Poland does have an aging squad. So you kind of see that after this World Cup, there's probably going to be a lot of turnover, but they could really use something. Great commentary, guys. First of all, I want to ask you guys what game you're looking forward to most other than the Belgium-England game. So
let's see, a non-biased game. I would be, I don't know, both Group D games. So Argentina, Nigeria, Iceland, Croatia, because every team's in it in that group. Croatia already clinched, but the other three still have everything to play for to go through. So looking forward.
And you kind of want to know what's going to happen with Argentina, right? I took perverse pleasure in that. I'm sorry. I just like watching them like self-combust. Charles, same.
Yeah, Group D that's a great, the whole Group D. The other one, how about Serbia and Brazil?
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Brazil has not looked good. Serbia has, even though we know they got tired out at the end. But that could be a potential upset. So that's another game to look forward to.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, I say we go around the clock and just real quick say the player that has impressed you the most, and then once again, when was the Serbia-Brazil game and when were the Group D games?
Let's see. Serbia-Brazil is on the
Wednesday.
Wednesday, yep, 27th.
Okay.
And Group D games are tomorrow, I believe.
Yep. Group D games are tomorrow. Group C and D tomorrow. Group E and F on Wednesday.
Okay. So everyone look forward to that. Okay, real quick. Player that's impressed you.
Oh gosh. Do you want to go ahead first, Charles?
Yeah. One of the games I'm looking forward to tomorrow, Croatia against Iceland. Modric. He has come alive. And if he can captain that team and keep that engine room going for Croatia, then Iceland's going to be out. So he's impressed. Like I said, Croatia started off shaky the first game, but they've poured it on, and he's really impressed me the last game. So
speaking of which, we kind of talked about all the talent that Croatia has and how they just never pulled it together. So this might be a great year for them if they can just they've done great in the group stages. If they can keep that momentum going, and Modric and what's the Barcelona player? Rakitic, if Modric and Rakitic just take control, they could go far.
Yeah, because they're hitting their peak right now, and like we said, all the big clubs are stumbling or not doing as well. This could be another 1998 where they go all the way to the semifinals or even further. We'll see how it works out for them.
Awesome, Ray.
Yeah, I'll be a little bit of a homer for my other team, England. I think Jesse Lingard, he only has one goal, a fabulous goal against Panama, but he's really added some like attacking threat and creativity to that midfield, something we've never seen from England. And so he's been really exciting and impressive to watch, coming out and on the big stage.
So speaking with my English friends, it's funny because this is the least English team ever. Like Harry Kane, first of all, they have struggled with penalties for I don't know how many years. Then Harry Kane comes along and just buries those 2 penalties. Then they have like classy players, like you said, like Lingard. This is not the normal English team. So I agree with you. This is going to be a lot of fun. So everyone, we want to thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Charles. Guys, let's look forward to those games coming along. Thank you, Derek, for helping us, and we're sorry that you couldn't add your opinion, but thank you from Football Around the Clock.
Thanks.
Later.